Which word gets the stress here? If you hesitated or if you just guessed, this video is for you. Because native speakers aren't following a grammar rule when they stress that word. They're following something else entirely. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. In a few minutes, you're going to hear 7 sentences. And by the last one, you're going to start hearing English differently. Differently in movies, in conversations, in everything. Let me show you what I mean. You probably learned that nouns and verbs get the stress. And that's true most of the time. But if you've ever spoken perfectly and still didn't sound natural, or if a native speaker has ever corrected you and you couldn't hear why, that rule isn't enough. The rule tells you which category of word to stress, but it doesn't tell you which word in that category matters the most. And that's the part that makes English sound alive. So if the grammar rule isn't enough, what are native speakers actually doing?
We're doing our best.
We're not thinking about categories. We're thinking about what matters. And the words that matter most in English have a name. These words I call drama words. They're also called intensifiers, and American English is full of them. We use them constantly in conversations, in arguments, in stories, because we don't just want to say what happened, we want you to feel how much it mattered. Several isn't just a number, long isn't just a length, and never isn't just a time word. They're all telling you something about how the speaker feels, and that's exactly why they get the stress. Now, before we get into the examples, I want you to hear the difference between a sentence with the drama word and one without one. Because once you hear it, you'll understand immediately why this matters when you're speaking English. Here's a sentence without a drama word. She was tired after work. Now here's the same sentence with one. She was so tired after work. Did you hear that? So put more feeling into it. Without it, she's just tired. And with it, you feel it. You understand that she's just done. She's finished. She doesn't want to do anything else. That's the intensifier doing its job. And when you put the stress in the right place on so, that's when you sound like a native speaker. I want to show you now what happens when the stress goes in the wrong place, because this is exactly what I hear from my students before we work on this. Listen, she completely changed after that. Did you hear that? There's no feeling behind it, is there? You're just reporting what happened. So let's listen again. She completely changed after that. All right, completely is getting the stress. So the listener feels it. The stress tells the listener what to feel or how she's feeling. When you get that right, your listener feels it with you. I was reading with one of my students and we came across this sentence. He knocked on the door several times. Now I asked him which word matters most. He said knocked. And I said, think about it. One knock is polite, right? And several knocks mean something is wrong. And so he got it. He knocked on the door several times. And without several, it's just a knock at the door. Several is your drama word. It tells you how much. By the time I got to the sale, the good stuff was long gone. Not just gone, long gone. By the time I got to the sale, the good stuff was long gone. That stretch on that word tells you exactly how you feel about it. So without long, you were just late. With long, you know you missed out. Long is your duration intensifier. It tells you how long something lasted, or in this case, how long it's been over. She never told me it was going to be that hard. She never told me it was going to be that hard. Never is not a grammar word, it's an emotion word. And emotion words always get the stress. Never is your emotion intensifier. It carries hurt, surprise, disappointment. All of that lives in one word. And when you stress it, everyone in the room feels it with you. She changed after that. She completely changed after that. Not changed, completely changed. Completely stresses intensity. It means that there's nothing left of what was there before. It's final, and that word needs to be said hard. That was the best meal I ever had. That was absolutely the best meal I've ever had. Okay, so absolutely stresses emphasis. And when you stress it, your listener knows you really mean it. You're not just passively agreeing to something. Intensifiers don't always make things bigger. Okay, sometimes they make things smaller. And that can be just as dramatic as making it bigger. I made it to the meeting on time. I barely made it to the meeting on time, right? Barely means almost nothing happened, almost zero. And you were this close to being late. Without barely, you made it there fine. With barely, you were running down the hallway, right? Trying to make it. So barely is your limiting intensifier. It shrinks down the action. So here's the scenario. She got back from the grocery store. She's making lunch, and her husband had this big job interview this morning. He's not home. A little later, he's still not home. So that word tells you that she has been waiting anxiously for a long time, and she needs to know if he got that job. Still shows persistence. She has been waiting a long time and has a very strong feeling because of it. Now I'm going to give you a short paragraph. Your job is to find them before I reveal them. Find the drama words and pause the video if you need to. It was late. He'd been driving for hours and he barely made it to the shoulder before the engine gave out. He sat there for what felt like a long time. He was still shaking when he finally got out of the car. He looked back down the road, completely empty. Nobody was coming. He never felt that alone before. The silence was absolutely the worst part. He knocked on the door of a passing truck several times before anyone stopped. It was late. He'd been driving for hours and he barely made it to the shoulder before the engine gave out. He sat there for what felt like a long time. He was still shaking When he finally got out of the car, he looked back down the road, completely empty. Nobody was coming. He'd never felt that alone before. The silence was absolutely the worst part. He knocked on the window of a passing truck several times before anyone stopped. Did you find them all? Let's look. Barely. Long. Still. Completely. Never. Absolutely. Several. Now read it out loud. Stress every one of those words and feel the story. This is what English sounds like when the stress is right. And this is exactly the kind of thing I work on with my students. Not just the sounds, but which words to land on and why. We talk about those things. Because once your sounds are clear and your stress is in the right place, that's when people stop asking you to repeat yourself. If you want to work on this systematically, the sounds, the stress, the rhythm, the link in the description will show you how we can work together. Let's look at this again. They were long gone, or they were long gone. Remember that question? Here's the answer. It depends on what you want to say. They were long gone. So here you're stressing the duration. They have been gone for a long time. They were long gone. Well, now you're stressing the fact that they left. And both are correct. Stress follows the meaning, and the meaning is yours to choose. It depends on the context. Without long, they were just gone, and drama words give your English feeling.